guys, welcome back to my humble little garage. You'll probably see that I've got a new friend in the garage today. I'm looking after my friend's Porsche 911 for a few weeks, and I thought, seeing as I've got the car here for a bit, I may as well make a few videos on the car. Now, my initial thought was to do a 997 Carrera S versus 997 Carrera 4S, which I will do. I'm going to save that for the next video. But I thought in this video, I'm just going to really showcase this stunning car. So about this car, as you can see, it's absolutely lovely. It's a Porsche 911 997 Carrera S. It's a 997 variant, and it's finished in Riviera blue. The one difference between this car and this car, well, there are a few differences, but this has a Tiptronic gearbox. Now, in the history of me buying sports cars and being interested in sports cars, it's always been a massive turn-off for me to ever even consider a Tiptronic gearbox. So it'll be interesting to see how I actually get on with this car. And as you probably saw in the title, there are a few things in this car which makes it a little bit interesting. It's got a little bit of an interesting past. So instead of me standing here talking about the car, let's get onto the blacktop and see how it drives. So this obviously feels very familiar to me. You know, everything's in the right place. I know where everything is instantly. It feels very familiar, but one of the main differences between this car and my car is that this is a rear wheel drive, just a two-wheel drive. My car is a four-wheel drive, so it'll be interesting to see how I get on with this car. Now this is a Tiptronic, mine's a manual. This doesn't have the sport chrono, mine does, but this does, however, have the sports exhaust, which yeah, I'm gonna have to put on right now. I don't know how well you can pick that up on camera, but that sounds good. It sounds really good. So what about this Tiptronic gearbox then? Well, I can categorically say that whenever I've been looking for a car, I've always automatically discounted and ruled out a Tiptronic gearbox. I've always either gone straight for a manual, or I've even had a PDK, which is a great gearbox. And for those who don't know, a Tiptronic gearbox is an automatic gearbox where the buttons on the steering wheel allow you to actually operate it as a manual car, which I'm going to do now. So the gear changes aren't as quick as a manual. They're certainly not as quick as a PDK would be. But is it acceptable for a sports car that you just drive on the road? Well, yeah, I'm gonna say yeah. I've got no problem with that. Probably not as quick as you'd like it to be, but unless you're driving it on the track, unless you're driving it in competitions, which you're not gonna be driving a Tiptronic in, then it's fine. I quite like it actually. Obviously it doesn't give you the same driving experience as a manual car would, but as far as the driving experience goes, then I would say it's actually not too bad. And after all these years, I really don't know why I've had such a hatred towards these Tiptronic gearboxes. I just always assumed they were boring to drive, and in actual fact, it's not boring at all. You know, I'm not going to turn around and say that I'm going to go out and buy a Tiptronic just like that, but it would change the way I buy cars, I think. I think I would view things differently, and if it was the right car and it was a Tiptronic, then maybe I wouldn't be so put off. So what about this colour then? It's actually Riviera blue. What a beautiful colour. As I look down onto the two torpedo wings, it just looks fantastic. Not to be confused with a Mexico blue or a Miami blue, which do look really similar. And I think you have to see all three colours side by side to know what I'm talking about and to understand the differences between the three colours. Put a message out on my Instagram and my Facebook pages, just basically showing the speed yellow and the Riviera blue next to each other, asking what people preferred, the blue or the yellow. And to be honest with you, I'm probably going to say it was 60-40 in favour of the Riviera blue. So there's obviously a lot of love out there for this colour, and a lot of you said you preferred it. But hey, I'm not going to argue with that. It is a fantastic colour. It just looks so beautiful. And I know you probably want me to comment on how it feels, the four-wheel drive versus the two-wheel drive, and I'm going to drive the car a little bit more. I'm not really qualified enough at this stage to know, so I'm going to drive the car a bit more, and I'm going to cover that in my next video after I've done a bit of extensive driving to see how I feel about this car. One thing I can't wait to try it on this Tiptronic car though is on the gear selector it has an R which I believe is for race mode, and you've got to go to 80 miles an hour, and then you've got to select the R, so I can't wait to try that later. Now, I did mention earlier that there are two things which make this car have a little bit of an interesting history. Oh, there's a GT4, nice. So yeah, so I'm gonna, let's get back to the garage and we'll talk about those things. I've only just noticed now, look at my flag has already come down. It's not a great start, but if you notice, there's a few bits on the floor there, a little bit of wall art. I've obviously got a lot more to get, but it's a good little start. So I promised you two bits of interesting history on this car here. The first thing is that those of you guys who are in the UK, you probably all heard of Specialist Cars of Malton, how they went under recently, and there was a little bit of foul play going on. I don't want to go into it too much. I don't want to speak too much about something I don't know a great deal about. But there was a bit of foul play going on. This was one of the, I think, well, the owner says it was the very last car to leave Specialist Cars of Malton before they actually shut down. So as far as I'm led to believe, that was the very last car to leave Specialist Cars of Malton. Now obviously you can see the speed yellow 997 behind me. Interesting piece of history about this car is that this car also started life as a speed yellow 997. So in fact, what you could say is I've got two speed yellow 997s sitting behind me. Strange, but here's how we know. So this is the giveaway sign. We've actually got to get inside the car for me to show you. So I'll get in here, turn the ignition on, even though you can't see what I'm doing right now. Turn the ignition on, sunroof back. And once the sunroof opens, you should really be able to see. Now, I'm not sure if it's picking it up on camera, but does this patch here show a speed yellow? Let me get out, have a look. I can see it on that side. As far as I can see is the only remaining trace of speed yellow inside this car. So it's pretty cool in fact, and not only that, but the car is actually owned by, I'm not going to say who owns it, but it's owned by a family member of a massive musician who's known worldwide, who's been in the rock scene for years and years and years. But as I say, I'm not going to go into it too much. Well, I'm not going to go into it at all, in fact, because I don't want to give away the identity of the owner. I must say the paint job that has been done on it is really, really good. And as I say, there's only one giveaway sign that it used to be a speed yellow car. For me personally, I would have silver wheels on this, or at least put a silver rim around the outside of the wheels. But obviously the wheels do go well with the black stripe along the middle of the car. Yeah, other than that, if I was to change anything else on this car, I think it would look amazing lowered. It would look amazing with the GT3 front bumper on it. And one thing you guys may be able to help me on actually is the suspension on this car. There might be a bit of a problem with the rear suspension. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to focus on the distance between the wheel, the tyre and the wheel arch here. So on this side, I can probably get 2 fingers, maybe 2.5 fingers in between the arch and the tyre. But if we go around to the other side, the gap here is actually much bigger. I can quite easily fit 4 fingers in there. So there is a difference. We don't know whether there has been a new suspension spring on there, or a strut or something like that. So if you guys have an idea about why you think that might be happening, have you seen this before? If there's any Porsche tech guys watching, then we'd be very grateful for you to maybe comment, put a comment in the box below as to why you think that might be happening. I'll certainly pass that on to the owner. Other than that though, that's about it for this video. Next video, as I say, I'm hoping to do a Carrera S versus 4S comparison. It'll be very interesting to see how the two cars drive differently. I'm expecting them to drive differently, but not too differently, if that makes sense. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you don't miss a single thing. You can also follow the Porsche Network on Instagram and on Facebook. I'll see you next week on the next episode of the Porsche Network.